Okay, welcome to the session and class. The very first session we'll speak on some literary terms, figure of speeches. First of all, you have already mentioned that what is simile, metaphor, etc. Very first I'm going to discuss what simile is, okay? Simile is, what is simile? Simile is a figure of speech that makes a comparison. Comparison of what? Showing similarities between two different things, unlike a metaphor. Two different things. So you have seen that it's a comparison. It's a comparison of how many things? Two things you can compare. But these two things must be different from each other, okay? It should not be similar. For example, if we write down Hassan is Korean. It is not a simile. Can anyone tell that why a simile?
Different thing.
Two different things. Different can be the different persons as well.
Yes.
But here we have seen that the two persons, okay? See that? There should not be what? Considered as simile. When I mentioned that Hassan is like a tiger, like a lion. It means Hassan is what? Lion. The different persons. Therefore it is called the word simile. So is it clear? Then what? Resembles what? Of the words like, as, like or as. Frequently in fact chader motu, it means of what? In motu. So these are what? These are simile. Okay. Next, there are some basic examples. Frequently you were mentioning that our soldiers are as brave as lions. Our soldiers are as brave as lions. So here soldiers are compared to what? Compared to lions. These are the comparison at the same time. Same thing what? These are the different things. Heart checks are red like a rose. Here heart checks. It is compared with what? It is compared with a rose. And there is a link used, that is what? Line. Without having line, as you cannot say that this is a what? Simile. Similarly, he is as funny as a monkey. Then of what? The writer here, he is not compared. He is not compared with the monkey. Here his activities, his attitude, his gesture, push, everything is compared to activities of monkey. Here the person is not compared to the animal, but the activities are compared. That's why it is called the word simile. Similarly, the water was as dry as a bone, etc. There are some other examples you have seen. So from our text we can show in literature how. Here you have seen that my heart, very closely and see, my heart is like a singing bird. What? Heart is compared to the singing bird. What does it mean that? It means of what? The man is feeling so much happy now.
Yes.
He is very much jolly minded now. It is like what? Singing bird. What does it refer? Singing bird refers to what? It has some symbolic meaning. Happiness, joyous, extreme, joyous. Okay. In the second line, whose nest is in a water should. My heart is like an apple tree. My heart. Here you have seen that another comparison we have seen is a what? Tree. My heart is like an apple tree. Is an apple tree. So here my heart is compared with what? Apple tree. These are the two different objects, but comparison. That's why it is another simile. At the same time, can anyone tell that? What does an apple tree refer to here? Where it's compared? What does it signify? Apple tree. Please try to guess yourself. What does it indicate? Anyone please?
Sir, can I say
Yes, you can.
Sir, Udash, sir.
Udash. Udar. Anything else? Yes, completeness, fullness, maturity.
Yes.
And it is full of what? Full of apples. Okay? I mean the word. His heart is completed. Right? It is full of something else. That's why it is compared. And another comparison we have seen in the last line, my heart is like a rainbow shell. Rainbow shell, you have seen the rainbow.
Yes.
The different colors, 7 combinations of 7 colors, okay? So it means of what? Here, a rainbow shell is compared of what? The beautiness and the happiness, joyous, okay? And of what? Innocent of something else, because it happens when? Just after the rain. Just after the rain. In that time, what? The environment becomes completely fresh. So here, heart is compared. So how many similes have we got here? 3. What is that? At first we have seen that my heart is compared with a singing bird. In the second time we have got a what? My heart is compared with an apple tree. In the third one we have seen that my heart is like a rainbow shell. In the next slide you have seen that here it's a very explanation. That is of what? The author has used simile thrice in this part of the poem, comparing her heart to a singing bird, an apple tree and a rainbow shell. The poet makes comparison of heart to a happy bird in a nest, an apple tree full with fruits and a beautiful shell in the sea, full of peace and joy. So here rainbow shell indicates of what? Peace. Peace. Okay? That means of what? Prashanti jetake amra bolchi. Happiness is there and joy is there. So when you compare between two different objects or something else, must remember that each and everything must refer to something else. It must have some inner meaning as well. In the next poem, it's a great poem, you know that, and you may have heard the lines as well. Oh, my love is like a red, red rose. Here, my love is compared to a red rose, and you know that red rose always symbolizes what? Love as well. Okay, that's why it is a simile. And why these are the simile? We have connected these using like or as. Like or as, I mean what? Two different objects must be connected either as or like. Otherwise, it should not be considered as a simile. Now, is it clear? Next one, metaphor. It is it is also the comparison between two objects. But what is the difference? A metaphor is a figure of speech that makes an implicit implied, or what hidden comparison between two things that are unrelated. That are unrelated means what? The comparison must be happen between two different objects like similes. But in similes, the comparison explicit. Here, the comparison is implicit. Okay? There is a basic difference, but which share some common characteristics. In other words, a resemblance of two contradictory or different object is made based on a single or some common characteristics. In similes, we have seen that two different objects are compared or linked up with what? As or like. But in metaphor you cannot use any as or like. And when you compare these two objects, these two things, these two persons or animals must have some similar characteristics. For example, in the very first line we have seen that our soldiers are brave like lions. Whenever we say that our soldiers are lions. So second one is a what? Second one is metaphor. First one is simile. Why? Because of like and explicit comparison. And second one is hidden comparison. At the same time, brave here lions means of what? Strength, bravery. Similarly, what? Our soldiers are also what? Brave, and they have the bravery to brave. They are brave one. Okay. So the phrase, my brother is the black sheep of the family. Black sheep of the family. Who is? Here my brother is compared of what?
Black sheep.
Black sheep. Okay, that is a word. Simile, and you have seen that there is no as or like. It is a metaphor because he is not a sheep, nor is he like. However, we can see this comparison to describe an Association of black sheep with that person. A black sheep is an what? Unusual animal. Unusual animal. So you have seen that. Why I have already mentioned that when you try to compare something else with something else, which one you are going to compare? Both must have a what? Some significant, and they have the some characteristic. When we are say in Bangla frequently we say, "Tu to asto eta gada." It means what? You are not an ass, but your activities. Your behaviors. So like what? An ass. That's why it is a word. Metaphor. Okay?
Sure. Yet the black sheep is symbol. You know that. Sir, white is the symbol of peace and innocence. Black is what kind of symbol?
It is already mentioned that a black sheep is an unusual animal. Then what? Which typically what stays away from the herd, and the person being what? Described shares similar characteristics. Means of what? Detached from the other.
Yes.
I mean, so when there is a gap, it means what that animal may be what? Brutal one. Which one we are calling that domestic animals? Which are very close to us, which can stay very close to our house, or we can what? Be close of them. I mean, so what? Because of their usual nature, as we know them, as a tiger and some other things or snack, they are living from our what? Far away from our houses. For what reason? Because of their unusual attitude and characters. Okay, got my point?
Yes.
Next one, you have seen that the difference is already shown there. A metaphor what develops a comparison that is different from a simile, in that we do not what use like or as to develop a comparison in a metaphor. It actually makes an implicit or hidden comparison and not an explicit one. Directly, that it is not directly, indirectly, what it is comparing. Whereas for the comparison in simile, we have seen that it's a directly. Tar mukta jano chader moto. It means the word chader moto, not chad. আর যখন বলছি কি তুমি তো একটা চাঁদ মতো, it means the word it is another comparison. So moto থাকার কারণে that is a word, that is simile, as there is no moto or like or as, that is a word metaphor. So I think you can understand now what is the difference between them. There are some examples actually given that my brother was boiling match. Then of what? The assignment was a breeze. The assignment was a breeze. That assignment means what? Some cheating. Okay? It makes a bondage between two hostile groups or the two opponent groups. He is going to be clear skies from now on. So the explanation are given in the bracket. You can say metaphor in literature. She is all stars and all princes. She is all stars and all princesses. So she is compared to what? Stars and princes. That's why it is a what?
Metaphor.
Metaphor. But thy eternal summer shall not fade. Thy eternal summer. That is a word. Eternal summer is compared to what? Summer shall not fade. Fade means what here? Decay. Decay. Ruinness. Destruction. Okay? It means the word. Evergreenness will continue. Generation after generation, years after years, that indicates. So do you have any question regarding similes and metaphor? Anyone, if you have any questions, any confusion, you can ask me. I'm ready. No? Can I go to the next one?
Yes.
Okay. Personification. Can anyone mention that word personification?
Personification means imposing life on some which has no life. For example, we say Chat Mama. That means as we know that Mama is a living person, the brother of our mother. But that moon can be a Mama as it has no life.
I Chat Mama. Here we are calling the moon. Seems to be that he is responding my hours, and he acts seems to be a human being. Thank you so much. Then here personification is obviously a figure of speech. So obviously we must remember that whenever non-human being is given the human activities as human qualities or attributed human qualities, that is called what? Personification. Non-human being. If human being is given another human qualities, it should not be considered of what? Personification. In our early childhood, frequently it happens. That is what? When we run, we cross a road, maybe we stuck and falls down. We fall down. Then we start crying, and our seniors come to us and what? Beat the roads or the brakes or something else and say that, Baba, see that the bench is crying. Here actually the bench has no life. And the boy, what? He starts laughing. Yes, it is crying now instead of me. So it means of what? The activity is the attribution is called what? Personification. So I think it is very clear to you. Then there are some examples. Look at my car. She is beauty. Isn't she? Who is she here?
She is Captain Car.
Yeah, you have seen that my car and she. Here actually given a word human qualities. Okay? That's why my car is a personification here. The wind whispered through dry grass. Through dry grass. Who is whispering here?
Wind.
The wind.
Wind.
The wind is whispering. So only the human being can whisper.
Yes.
That's why here wind is of what? Wind is personification. Personified here. Then of what? The flowers dance in the gentle breeze. Human being can dance. But the flowers cannot dance. But here we have seen that the flowers are dancing. That's why the flower is what? Personified here. Then time and tide wait for none. Time and tide, frequently we have heard the word, the proverb.
Yes.
But it is a word, time and tide here are what? Personified. Okay. So the fire shallowed the entered forest. Next one, speaker. Who is a speaker?
Who speaks
Who is talking behind the
So
scene?
what you have said, just try to understand. That is in writing, the speaker is a voice that speaks behind the scene. The poet, the author cannot speak himself. For example, in the sickles, orals, the word are sick. The word are sick, orals. It means the word someone is calling to Rose to listen to him. To listen to him. Who is calling? Who is calling? Who is describing? Who is telling that the Rose is sick? Here the person, the voice is a word. The voice is the speaker. The voice is not his voice of poet. It is not the voice of poet. And remember that in poem, the poet can never speak himself or herself. He must create a character, a persona. That persona or that character try to what? Represent on behalf of the author or the poet. Okay? So, in fact, it is the narrative voice that speaks of a writer's feelings or situation, obviously. The speaker always tries to convey the feelings and the observations and emotions of a poet. It is not necessary that a poet is always the speaker, because sometimes he may be writing from a different perspective, or maybe in the voice of another race, gender, or even a metrical object. It usually appears as a persona or voice in a poem. Okay. So you have seen that last line is not relevant. I think you have understood what is speaker. Speaker means the word, the person who speaks from the behind of the screen or the scene, and it is a created character of the persona who conveys the message, who conveys the feelings, observations, and some instructions in behalf of the poet. And remember that their perspective, from different perspective he can speak. But remember which point of view a speaker can speak. Already he mentioned that whenever I is seen in a poem, that seems to be that the poet is speaking. No. Actually this is called about first person point of view. First person point of view. Yes, there are two types of speakers, point of view. One is first person point of view, another is third person point of view. In literature there is no existence of second person point of view. And remember that what is the difference between these two. Regarding the first person point of view, you must remember that seems to be the speaker is the part of the incident. Part of the incident. I is there. I mean, so when he express something else in I, he or she cannot have what? Give any comment. Such a things you are doing, you cannot give the comment. Only the third person can comment. I have already frequently mentioned an example, that is a word, chess game. There are two opponents are playing. They are what? First persons. They are the first persons. And when your opponent is making some mistake, you cannot give him an instruction. But who is the viewer? He or she can give. He can knows everything because he can understand or she can understand the both sides. He can understand the both sides. Okay. So that's why this is the difference. So remember that in that case, how many types of points of view? Everything is revealed. Two types of, one is first person point of view, another is third person point of view.
So I find third person view examples.
Yes.
Sometimes you cannot clearly discern between anger and frustrations. So here you use second person.
Obviously, when you are speaking from the third person point of view, you must mention that you, she, etc. Second person is not actually.
Third person mention the
Second person. Okay, second person. He can never say that I. Okay, either he will mention that you mostly, or he can mention that she, because and third person is who? Who is omniscient, omnipotent, omniscient. I mean, he knows everything, he sees everything, and he feels everything. You may have read the Wuthering Heights. You may have read. That is a word. Mostly you have seen that from the third person point of view, the narrator reveals everything. But Ulysses, that is a word. From the first person point of view, he has revealed. There are some examples today we are going to analyze this. Is there any obscurity, difficulty? Do you have any question? Okay, have you understood? Okay. Can I go to the next one? Yes. Alliteration. Okay? It's a very simple. Alliteration is derived from what? Latin words. That is what? Lettera. It means what? Letters of alphabet. It is a stylistic device in which a number of words having the same first consonant sound. Have you repetition, not the order, but repetition of the consonant sound occur close together in a series. Please go to the examples. Here you have seen that. Just read. But a better butter makes a better. Okay, butter better. So you have seen that is a what? B is the consonant sound. These are the consonants. The B is consonant here and it is repeated. At the same time, must remember that everyone very careful whenever you try to identify the alliteration, because to be alliteration there should have some qualities, some features. What are the? All the consonants must be repeated at the very beginning of the words. At the very beginning of the words. It is the first features, condition. Second word is what? The words must be very close. For example, if there is no B, it is one, and if there is another one, it is better. This should not be considered in that time alliteration, because there is a long gap. There is a long gap. When you will see that the words are very close to each other and the consonants are of what? Repeatedly used. That is called of what?
Alliteration.
Alliteration. Clear? Got my point? And now come to here another examples. A big valley meets a baby boy. So both sentences are alliterated because the same first letter of words B what occurs close together and produces alliteration in the sentence. An important point to remember here is that alliteration does not depend on letters but of what? The sound. So remember, consonants are, this is another differences.
Yes.
The sound is important,
Yes.
but not of what? Later.
Yes.
In assonance, that is mandatory to repeat the same vowel. But in alliteration, it is not necessary. But what should be repeated? Vowel, consonant sound must be repeated, and they should be used very closely. Okay. And what is a consonance? I must explain it now, as it is related with the alliteration. Consonant means of what? Repetition of the consonant sound. Repetition of the consonant sound. But that is not mandatory to be close. That is not mandatory to use at the very beginning of the words. Very beginning of the words. It can be used anywhere else. It can be used anywhere else. Okay? So this is the differences. There are some examples in literature you have seen. In Romeo and Juliet, you have seen that that's a word you have seen from quote the fatal lines of these two foes. Here we start. Here you have seen the word at the very beginning. There is an example of alliteration with the F and what L. Okay, L is a word. So you have seen that this L, where is L? L is used mostly in the second sentence.
And
Sir, lovers and
Lions.
and then also lions.
lovers and
Lions.
Where is the line?
First line, sir.
Sir,
First
first line.
line.
No, you cannot compare it with the first lines. The same line. It should have the same line. Okay? You cannot go to the another lines. So these are, you have seen that LLR of what repeatedly used at the very beginning of the words they are used. That's why it is called a what? Alliteration. Have you understood? So the difference alliteration. Alliteration again I am telling. First of all, it should be the repeated sound of the consonant. Secondly, all the consonant must be used at the beginning of the words. Third condition is that is a what? Yes, the words must be used closely. There should not have what? Long gap between these or among these. Okay? These are what? Alliteration. Consonant means what? Repetition sound of consonant, but that is not mandatory to be used at the very beginning, or they should not be very close. There may have any gap. But remember that either it is alliteration, consonant or assonance, everything must be considered in the or within the line. Within the line. You cannot go to the next line. You cannot cover that one as well. Assonance. What is assonance? So assonance takes places when the two or more words of what? Close to one another repeat the same vowel sound, but start with a different consonant. As Jahangir, I have already asked you to write as
look, love,
lost. Look, love, lost. Why it is not look, love, lost? You have seen that obviously vowel sound is repeated. There is no doubt.
Yes.
But the problem is that they are close as well. It is fulfilled. But the third condition it fails. It is of what? The consonants are not the same. Dissimilar. These are the similar. Remember that to be an assonance, before the vowel, each and every consonant must be different. Each and every consonant must be
different.
If it is the same, you cannot tell of what?
And the assonance.
Assonance. We can go here. You have seen. Please say. E is repeated here. Okay? But more interestingly, M is a consonant, S is consonant, H is consonant, W is consonant, here B is consonant. These five consonants are the different. I mean what? Vowel sound is repeated. And before the vowel, all the consonant must be different. Or most of the consonant must be different. Okay? Either it should be what? Most of the consonant must be different, or all the consonants. Okay? So another condition you must remember that it should not be used at the beginning of the words like alliteration. Why? Because the condition says that before the vowel the consonant must be different. If it is, so the vowel cannot be used at the beginning of the words. Now is it clear? So what does it mean then? Assonance means a word, repetition sound of the vowels, okay?
Yes.
And before the vowels, all the consonant must be different. Or most of the consonant must be different. And it is not necessary, or it cannot be used at the beginning of the words. but they must be used closely, like alliteration. They should not have long gap. Okay? So this is called what? Assonance. So you have seen that here the same vowel sound of the short vowel E repeats itself in almost all the words, excluding the definite article. The words do share the same vowel sound, but start with a different sounds, unlike alliteration, which involves what? A repetition of the same consonant sound. I mean, so but this is the another basic difference between assonance and what? Alliteration. So I think you are clear now. Okay. There are some other examples you have seen. That is what? We light fire on the mountain. So you see which one is the alliteration here? The I is vowel, I is vowel. These are the repeated sounds. But here you have seen the L and F. The consonant is a different. That's why it can be considered as a assonance. As an assonance. Okay. And another thing is that you have seen that why we haven't considered this one. Can anyone tell that? Here it is also I, but there is a long gap. Long gap. That's why it should not be considered as a what? Assonance. In the same third example, we can go and mo, the long. So you have seen that O and O. These are what? Repeated vowel sound. And before the consonant are the different. That's why these are what? Assonance. And the final lines you have seen that in the among these 5 examples I have shown, which one should be considered as a what? Considered as assonance. Okay.
Sir,
Anyone any question? Should I go to the next previous or previous?
the second one, sir. I feel depressed and restless. Restless, sir, there are 2 and in depressed there are 1. Sir, please explain how.
Which one please? Which one?
I feel depressed and restless.
Depressed
And restless, sir.
restless.
Now there-
E should be.
একটাই দেওয়া হয়েছে
Where?
ডিপ্রেসড
Yeah.
No, sir.
This is also. This should be also considered. Okay, this should be considered. That should be also.
Sir,
Okay.
the second E after D, depressed.
Oh, that is also good. That is also good. Okay, these are the repetition of the E sound. Just listen. I think now you are understood.
স্যার গো এন্ড মো
Go and mo.
And
Obviously, I have already
the
shown that. So, which one?
O and
এন্ড
O.
ওখানে এ আছে তো স্যার লাউ
Sir,
No, these are not. Go, mo, and lawn. The sound is not the same. The sound is not. This is the different sound. Here you can say that W and this W. These can be a what? A better example of the consonants, because these are what? These are the repetition of the consonant, and these are not used at the beginning of the words, though they are the close. So these are the examples of what? Examples of consonants. So I think you can understand what is now alliteration, what is consonant, what is it.
yes, I feel. Here the feel double E, sir.
Jabuli.
Double making E.
E. Only single.
One
Double E means of what here actually a single sound is given here.
Single
That's
sound.
why. Okay.
One vowel, sir.
One vowel should be considered there. So thank you all. Do you have any questions regarding this? We want to repeat just what we have learned so far. Simile, metaphor, personification, speaker, then alliteration, consonants, and assonance. If you have no,
Consonants is the last দুইটা word
I have already mentioned twice. Consonant. Repetition of the consonant. Again, I am telling consonant of the repetition of the consonant sound, but that should not be used at the beginning of the word, and there it is not mandatory to be very close.
Yes.
I mean, so when the consonants are repeated, anywhere else, it means of what?
It's the assonance.
Consonants.
Consonants.
Remember that. If it is consonants or assonance or alliteration, that must be considered within the line.
Yes.
You cannot go to the next
Next
line.
line.
The next one.
Clear?
Consonants.
So thank you so much.